So again, I'm Carl Savino. I run Corporate Gray and want to give you a 30-minute presentation on how to work a virtual job fair. Just a little bit about Corporate Gray. We were founded in 1994 with one mission, and that is to connect transitioning service members and veterans of all ranks and branches of service with employers nationwide. To be clear, we say that our events are military friendly, meaning they're especially for those who served, but civilian job seekers, especially those who are members of the military community, are welcome to participate in our events. The three elements of our career transition services include job fairs, an online website, and a book titled The Military to Civilian Transition Guide. Please note that the link that I'm showing here on this slide is to our ebook. So it's a free ebook. It's the same information that's available to you in hard copy. It is free. Susan will be putting that link in the chat box. Corporate Gray Online is our online employment website. U.S. job seekers are welcome and encouraged to create a free account, upload your resume, and then search and apply for positions in advance. And then thirdly, we've been hosting job fairs for the military community since 1997. For the first 24 years or so, our events were held in person at different locations around the country, mostly in the Washington, D.C. metro area, in San Diego, in Norfolk, Virginia Beach, and in Texas. So again, currently our job fairs are being held virtually. We've been hosting virtual job fairs now for about 3.5 years. And again, the purpose of this presentation is to give you an overview about those virtual job fairs. All of our job fairs are listed on the job fair page. So if you're on Corporate Gray Online on our site, you're going to see there's a link to job fairs, and it takes you to this URL, corporategray.com/job fairs. Our virtual job fairs are held from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and we typically hold one virtual military-friendly job fair a month. To create a Corporate Gray Online account, visit this link, corporategray.com/applicant/new. And once you're registered and you want to participate in a job fair, you just click the job fairs link and then the register link corresponding to that desired event. So again, think of Corporate Gray as the central repository for accessing companies' jobs, government agencies' jobs. We also have a wealth of career transition advice and information on our site. We've got a blog, we have a newsletter, and more. So what's the purpose of a virtual job fair? I'm going to submit to you that you should not view this as a final hiring decision. I like to think of this as an opportunity to meet with representatives, mostly recruiters of different companies and government agencies that are interested in hiring military veterans in particular, and civilian job seekers with the skills and experience that they're seeking. So again, please go into this with that understanding that typically there's due diligence that has to be performed by those participating employers. So I would not look at coming into this thinking you're going to get a job on the spot. I would look at this as a great opportunity to interact with some top companies and government agencies, gain additional information, and take advantage of that opportunity to interact directly with the company representatives. One of the points I like to make here is virtual versus in-person job fairs. I would submit to you that there's frankly very little difference in terms of what makes for a successful event. First and foremost, the upfront homework that you're going to do is key, and I will go into what that means. As with an in-person event, you're going to be interacting, quote, live with those company recruiters. The difference is you'll be able to be in different company booth queues at the same time. And the post-event actions are the same as well. You want to follow up with companies of interest, make sure that you send thank you notes to those recruiters, typically via email if you can. And again, you may also want to link up with them on LinkedIn, connect with them on LinkedIn. So again, can't stress enough the importance of doing upfront homework. Folks, I've been doing this now for about 27 years. I see the company feedback form. I'm telling you time and time again, what those companies are looking for is to see that you've searched and applied for positions in advance, and then leverage the research you have done into that company, leverage your information that you gleaned from the contacts you have at those companies to really deliver a home run. So before the virtual job fair, I encourage you to research the companies. Start with LinkedIn, and you're going to see in the next slide, we have a LinkedIn button that's going to help you find people who you know who are working at each company, assuming you have a LinkedIn account. If not, please create one, and really leverage the contacts you have at those participating companies. So my recommendation is reach out to people in advance of the event who are working for those companies. Ask them for their advice, ask them for their assistance. What's it like working at ABC company? What's the corporate culture like? Do you like it there? How do I best position myself for success? So again, can't stress enough the importance of networking. Everybody on this webinar knows it's critical, right? So leverage your LinkedIn contacts. I would also encourage you to do additional company research. There are a variety of websites out there to help you. It used to be you had to go to the library. Frankly, now you can do about 99% of that research online. Some of the sites I like include hoovers.com, manta.com, glassdoor.com, and others. Of course, you should also visit the company's booth, their website as well. And you're going to see two platforms of interest. One is the Corporate Grade platform. The other is the virtual recruiting platform. We will be using eCareer Fairs as the virtual job fair platform. You'll be able to click on the jobs icon, and also, so you can also search and apply for positions on the eCareer Fairs platform as well as on the Corporate Grade platform. Our next job fair is going to be on January 18th. And whenever we do a job fair, you're going to see a page like this on the homepage of Corporate Grade. So if you're on corporategrade.com, on the left of the soldier, there's a link that says View Attending Employers. And when you click that link, View Attending Employers, you're going to see this page. There are 3 columns. So when you click on the company name, like Lockheed Martin or Los Alamos or National Geospatial, it's going to open up their company profile page. So point number 1 is I encourage you to review the information that these companies have provided and these government agencies have provided by clicking on the company name. 2, click on the number of posted jobs and you'll be able to do a job search specific to that employer. So again, by clicking on the number of jobs posted, you'll be able to enter keywords. You can select state if that's important to you and winnow it down. Look for opportunities consistent with your skills and experience. 3, networking. When you click on that LinkedIn network button, it's going to run a people search for you. In other words, when you click that LinkedIn network button, you're seeing different contacts that I am or someone else. So again, if you don't have a LinkedIn account, I strongly recommend that you create one. It's free. And again, when you click that LinkedIn network button for a corresponding company or government agency, it's going to show you who your first, second, or third level connections are at that company. Again, I stress the importance of reaching out to people in advance to the extent that you have first level connections. If you don't, most of you will certainly have a second level connection. Again, try to get the G2, if you will. Try to get that inside track on what those companies, government agencies are about and what the corporate culture is like and how best to position yourself in terms of the job search. One of the strong recommendations, again, is to search and apply for positions in advance. You can do that both on Corporate Gray as well as on the eCareer Fairs platform. As I just showed you, you can click on the number of jobs and it launches a search for that company. You can apply filters and really drill down, look for positions you think are a good fit, and then apply in advance. The next thing you should do is open up a Word doc or a notepad and type up why you think you're a good fit for those opportunities. For example, you might start with the company name or the government agency name. Make sure you put down the job requisition number. Look at what the requirements are. Maybe get the top 3 requirements for that position and line up how your skills and experience connect or align with their requirements. So again, can't stress enough the importance of searching and applying for positions in advance, typing up why you think you're a good fit so that you can easily copy and paste when you're dialoguing with the recruiter who's working for that particular company or government agency. Again, make it easy for yourself. Do that upfront homework. You can also, when you're on Corporate Gray, you can do a job search that spans all the jobs of all the participating companies. So how do you do that? You go to corporategray.com, click on Find Jobs, Then in search by keyword, enter whatever keywords are applicable to your job search. Then if you'll come down with your eyes, you're going to see there's a box that says search by companies attending next job fair. Click that, check that box. And then if you want, if you're looking for jobs in a particular state, you can select one or more states. You can select additional states by holding down the control key and clicking on additional states. If you're looking for remote opportunities, don't click any states. If you're open to relocating anywhere, don't click any states. So the maximum return is going to show when you don't further filter by state. But again, this is a nice way of searching against all the jobs of the companies that are participating in that next event to see who has jobs that align with your skills and experience. One of the suggestions I'm going to make regarding the virtual job fair, another suggestion is to prepare answers to questions that are commonly asked. So if you're dialoguing with a particular recruiter, and frankly, what they're trying to do, and again, it's kind of a round robin approach, and it's not necessarily going to be a super in-depth dialogue, but they're going to want to know something about you, about what you consider to be your key skills and experience. They might ask you what you know about their company. Again, that's where you want to leverage the research that you've done in the past. Some of the companies, not all, are looking for people with a security clearance in addition to the skill set. Companies sometimes want to know that you're willing to relocate for the right opportunity if you are. Most company recruiters will not engage you about salary requirements. I guess that could come up. If it should, we always recommend deferring that question to say, I can give you a better answer once I more fully understand what the requirements are for the position and what my role would be. You may also be asked when you're available to start work. So if you're transitioning military, still on active duty, you need to let them know what your earliest availability date might be. So again, if I were you, I would be typing up answers to questions like this and others that you can think of, so that if you're asked that question during the virtual job fair, and most of the dialogue is going to be in the form of text chats, you can quickly copy and paste as opposed to having to hunt on the keyboard. At the same time, conversely, I think you should be preparing questions that ask those companies. And these aren't per se the questions you're going to ask, but there's some examples of maybe who would I report to? What would my performance evaluation, how would my performance be evaluated? What does a career path at your company look like, et cetera, et cetera. I would not ask questions about pay per se or benefits at this point. I think it's more important that you ask questions to get to, I want to be a top performer, and what do I need to do to position myself to be that person, right? So what do other top performers look like? What skills and experience of the people who have done the best coming into your company or government agency, what does their background look like? How about you? You, the recruiter, do you like working there? Would you do it again? So again, carefully think through questions that you might want to ask, type them up so you can easily copy and paste during the event. Okay, so during the event, and one thing that I always recommend is come into that event lobby in advance, visit the booths, and especially those where you had applied. Again, this is during the event itself. When you're chatting with a recruiter, as I already explained, you can quickly copy and paste information you've already prepared, both questions as well as answers. You are encouraged to get in multiple conversation queues at the same time. The software knows and tracks where you are in that process. You cannot be in a dialogue with more than one company at a time. The software, again, will control that. We recommend asking the recruiters at the end of that interview for their email address, so you can follow up and ask about next steps. And I always recommend jotting down questions that you may want to ask the recruiter or LinkedIn contacts afterwards, right? So use those LinkedIn contacts to ask questions in some instances that you would not want to ask the recruiter. So for example, you could ask your LinkedIn contacts questions about benefits that you wouldn't necessarily want to ask the recruiter upfront. As I already suggested, I think if the salary question does come up, you want to tactfully defer. You can also gain insights into what salary information is like at that company or government agency through salary.com, Glassdoor, PayScale, and other sites. That's probably good information to have as well, to know what the salary range is for some of the positions in which you're interested. And if you're fellow military veterans and other contacts you can garner selling information from, I think that's good as well. After the job fair is over, I encourage you to follow up with the key recruiters, i.e. those in whom you're most interested, via email. After that event is over, I would suggest that your follow-up email should have 3 paragraphs. You want to remind them, first paragraph, you want to remind them where you met. Hey, I met you at the January 18th virtual military-friendly job fair. We talked about this particular opportunity. I understand the requirements are A, B, and C. Here's how my background maps to that, A, B, and C. And then reinforce your interest in the position and thank them for the opportunity that you had to dialogue with them. If I were you, I would also be attaching an updated copy of my resume. Again, tailor that resume to the opportunities in which you're interested. Again, each resume that you provide to them, specific to a particular position, should be tailored to that opportunity to a T. And I'd also suggest that you follow up with your LinkedIn contacts and your references to let them know if you did have some great, hopefully you did have some good, good contacts connected. Hopefully you made some good contacts at those participating companies and government agencies. Let your references know about those and your LinkedIn contacts as well. As I said, our next job fair is going to be on January 18th, next Thursday, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. To get there, you want to visit ecareerfairs.com. So again, to be clear, we are using a virtual job fair platform called eCareerFairs. So visit ecareerfairs.com. On that page, you're either going to log in if you already have an account. If you don't, you want to create an account and then log in. Then find the January 18th virtual job fair and click the access icon to visit the event lobby. From the event lobby, for each company that you're interested in, click the jobs icon. When you click that jobs icon, it's going to take you to their job board where you can apply for positions. Also, when you click the preview button, it will enable you to get the names of the participating recruiters. This is what you can do now as well as during the event. But I'm recommending that starting today, if you're in job search mode and you want to participate in next Thursday's event, that you create an account now, that you research the companies, look at their jobs that they have open, find jobs if there are that are applicable to you based on your skills and experience and interests. And as I said, click the preview button. Once you get the names of those participating recruiters, you may want to go to LinkedIn, invite them to connect with you, let them know that you're interested in their company and that you'll be participating in that event. So again, you also, by going to and viewing their LinkedIn contact information for each recruiter that you're interested in, you'll be able to get information. Perhaps there's some commonality that will enable you to learn. Our virtual job fair guide, which will take you step by step through this process, is shown here. So again, this virtual job fair guide will lead you step by step through the job fair process on eCareerFairs. We also gave a virtual job fair training class yesterday, day before. It's a 34-minute, here's how the virtual job fair process works specific to eCareerFairs. This link is on our YouTube channel. So if you're interested in participating in next Thursday's event, I think it's important that you know how best to operate. Again, by clicking on this, visiting the link for this job fair guide, by watching the job fair training, you'll have all the information you need to have a successful event. Good experience. In summary, I'm recommending that you approach a virtual job fair in the same manner as you would an in-person job fair. All the preparatory work that I talked about, same thing. Make sure you understand everything you possibly can about the employers in advance of the event. Network, network, network. Use LinkedIn to network with those people who are working at those companies or government agencies to gain their insights and advice. Search and apply for positions in advance and type up why you think you're a good fit. Make sure after the event's over that you follow up with employers of interest. I think a thank you note is always a nice touch. You know, typically, if you can get the email address of the recruiter, It's a quick way of doing it. Then you're sending them an updated resume. If they didn't provide it, maybe you can figure out what that email address is, or you can send a hard copy of your resume and cover letter to that recruiter. You can Google the company name. I'm sure with a little bit of work, you can get their address. I can't stress enough the importance of staying positive. Always stay positive, always be professional in your dialogue with these recruiters. Again, anytime you're on that stage, it's a chance to learn and hopefully gain employment as a result of the work that you've done. If you would like a recording of this webinar, it'll be ready next week on our YouTube channel at the URL provided. Again, I'm Carl Savino with Corporate Gray. I'd like to go back now to this link, the virtual job fair guide. One, please. Sorry. Let me just copy this paste. So I'm sorry, to get the virtual job fair guide, just go specifically to corporategray.com at this URL and download it. And the virtual job fair training, again, go to that link to listen. It's a 34-minute training seminar that Karen gave. So I think those are the two most important elements to our events. Again, knowledge of how that virtual job fair works on the eCareerFirst platform is important. And again, downloading that guide as well as listening to the training, I think would be very helpful. So at this point, I'd like to know if you have questions, please put them in the chat box so that Susan can respond. Are there any questions? If not, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Very much appreciate your interest in learning more about how to work a virtual job fair. And let's see, there's one question. Is it a good idea to have video on? Okay, that's a good question. I'm glad that was asked. Let me explain how this will work. The recruiters will have the option of going from a text chat to a video chat. So I always recommend making sure that you're dressed the part, right? So I don't know, typically, I don't know if you're going to be engaged in a video interview. As I said, it starts with a text chat, but the recruiter may want to change from that text chat to a video chat. So if that's the case, then yes, you want to make sure that you're video enabled. And in eCareer Fairs, you can test your video. So what you're going to see is that there is a way for you to test your video on eCareer Fairs. You'll definitely want to do that. Are we able to get these slides? We've got a link. So the link to the recording will be on our YouTube channel, but the slides will be included as part of that presentation. So it'll be part of what you're going to see. So all the information that I've gone through today will be accessible when you click the link in the YouTube channel specific to our virtual job fair training. Other questions, please let me know your questions so that we can respond. Again, our goal is to maximize your efforts here, make it as useful as possible. Any other questions? What if you're denied employment? Okay, so here's what I recommend. If you apply for a position and you're turned down the opportunity and you're denied employment at that company or that government agency, I always recommend sending a thank you note. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be considered at your company or your government agency. I remain interested. Here's an updated copy of my resume. If things should change, let's say that you were number 2 on the list and the person that they selected decided to turn it down. Again, so my recommendation is be positive, send a thank you note, express interest, and that does not preclude you from trying again at a later point. So maybe the next month, 2 months later, you see other opportunities that you think are a good fit. Go ahead and try it. What do you lose, right? But again, you will do far better if you're leveraging your contacts. So try to leverage contacts at the companies as a result. What if they deny you employment based on your disability? That's illegal. Hopefully that would never happen. If so, they would be opening themselves up to a lawsuit. So again, I wouldn't be concerned of that. Expected to leave active duty in September of this year, too early to start applying or attending job fairs? I don't think so. What I always recommend is that you be upfront with the recruiter, let them know that you're not going to be available until September of this year, but you're participating to get as much information as you possibly can so that you can better position yourself when the time is right. Let me say this, most companies will not be overly interested in you until you're in that 60 to 90-day window of being available to start work. But having said that, if you wait until that 60 or 90-day window, you're not doing yourself a benefit. So my recommendation is participate in these events, ours and others, garner as much information as you possibly can. You know, if you're a year out, maybe there are certain things that you can be doing between now and a year from now that will better position you so that when it is your turn and you are within that window of availability, you've done something that's going to put you in a better stead. For example, if they say, hey, if you go get this IT certification in XYZ, that would be that would be very positive. So by participating early and understanding what the needs are of these companies, you can potentially also get different certifications or work on different certifications. I think the VA, Department of Veterans Affairs, can possibly assist you in that regard as well. Other questions, please? Anything else that you think would be helpful to you or others? Okay, if not, please go through that guide. I know that the virtual job fair guide that was in the presentation, again, that's going to lead you step by step through the entire process. I also encourage you to watch the training video, the virtual job fair training video. It's about a half hour, but it really hones in specifically on how our events work on the eCareerFairs platform. Okay, so looks like the person who said they were denied employment, Department of Veterans Affairs, is asking you to call them, so you may want to do that. Okay, folks, last chance. Any other questions? If not, I'm going to end the interview at this point. End the recording. Thank you very much for your time, for listening. I wish you all the best in your job search. Take care.